Hello and welcome. This is a pre-algebra video discussing order of operations and evaluating expressions. You should be on page 10 of your pre-algebra quarter one notebook. So order of operations, this is something you have seen before. Let's go over it. Our first step in order of operation is a G, and that stands for all grouping symbols. And you will be using a lot of different grouping symbols, parentheses, absolute value bars, square roots, division, fraction bars that are long with expressions on in the numerator, expressions in the denominator. Our next step in order of operations is the E, and that stands for exponents. So remember, it's the number right up here. So this is all grouping symbols, and I'll just give a parenthesis to make us think of our grouping symbols and a little square or power of 2 for our exponents. Now our next step is going to be multiplication and division. Multiplication and division. And it's really important to note that this is left to right, just like you read a book. Finally, when you're solving your expressions, evaluating, it's going to be addition and subtraction. And like multiplication and division, I forgot the T for my right up here, that is left to right, just like you read a book across. Let's take a look at number 1 here. This says to evaluate using the given replacement values. Replacement values. X equals 3, y equals 4, z equals -5. So I will be replacing the x with 3, substituting the 4 for y, and substituting this replacement value of -5 for z. So x is 3, so I have 3 cubed plus 4 times, and I just like to substitute my negative numbers in parentheses. It highlights the fact that this is a negative number, and I think it's really, really important to remember that negative numbers will impact the operations. So the first step here is to look at order of operations, and sometimes it's helpful to write it down. Do I see any grouping symbols? Well, I see this parenthesis, but inside the parenthesis, it's just the -5. Nothing to do inside here. So I'm going to move on to exponents. I do see 3 cubed. That's 3 times 3 times 3. You can put that in the calculator. You can use the exponent button in the calculator. You will get 27. And then I'm going to bring the other pieces down. So that equals 27. I look at exponents, there are no more, so it's multiplication, division, left to right. There's only multiplication, so I need that step first. So 27, nothing happens, but I am going to multiply 4 times -5, and that is -20. You can put that in the calculator. My final step is just addition. There's only one thing left to do, so whatever it was going to be what I did. And I have 27 plus -20. In the calculator or in your head, your answer is 7. Let's take a look at this next one, which is A divided by B times C. A equals -18, B equals 3, and C equals -2. First step is to substitute the given replacement values. A equals -18. As I said, I just like to put that in parentheses because it's negative, and it reminds me it's negative and something might change because of that. It's divided by 3 times -2. So if I look at my order of operations here, inside my parentheses are just negative numbers. Nothing to do there. I've got exponent. Nope, I don't. I don't have any exponents. Multiplication, division, left to right. You might be tempted to do multiplication first, but what comes left to right first? First up is division. So that is what I will do first. That's how I will evaluate. Negative 18 divided by 3, a negative divided by a positive is negative. So I have negative 6 times negative 2. Only one more step to take. It is multiplication. I have negative 6 times a negative 2. Negative times a negative is a positive, and I get 12. Okay, moving down to number 3 and 4. Evaluate the expressions when A equals 3 and B equals 4. Looks like I'm going to use the same replacement values for both of these. So I have 5. Remember, between the coefficient and the variable is multiplication. So I'm going to write that in now. 5 times A, which is 3 squared, plus B squared, and B is 4. Think about GEMDAS every time. Do I have any grouping symbols? No, but I do have exponents, 3 squared and 4 squared. So it's 5 times 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, that's 9, plus 4 squared, which is 4 times 4, 16. Multiplication division, I have multiplication. I'm going to evaluate 5 times 9, that's 4d5, plus 16. Last step is adding, and I get 61. Now, I have a square, a squared, b squared. Let's just see what happens here. I'm going to substitute. I have to keep it like it is in the parentheses. 3 plus 4, and it's squared. So I have to evaluate what's inside the parentheses first. 3 plus 4 is 7, and then that's going to be squared. 7 times 7 is 49. Alrighty, let's take a few on page 11. These do not have any replacement values. This is just straight order of operation. But in my first one, number 5, I see a bracket and then parentheses. So when I have kind of more than one grouping symbols, I really need to focus on going as far into the center as I can. I have this bracket, and I definitely want to evaluate that first. But even before, I have these parentheses. So my first step is the most inner parenthesis. So I have 4 right next to the bracket that is going to indicate multiplication. I'll just put that symbol there. And then I've got a bracket. 15 minus 9 is 6. And it's plus 8. And because this number is right next to a parenthesis, that indicates multiplication times 2. All right, I still have inside the parentheses, so I'm not multiplying by 4 yet. And inside the parentheses, I don't have any more grouping, no exponents, but I do have multiplication. So it's going to be 4 times 6 plus 8 times 2, which is 16. I'm still inside the parentheses. All I have is addition. So I have 6 plus 16, which is 22. And as I said, this was multiplication. So my last step is 4 times 22, and the final answer is 88. If you take this step by step, you will get these correct. Number 6 looks very similar. So why don't you take a moment and do number 6. So hopefully we're back. You got 11. You notice that inside the brackets, these outer parentheses, were some parentheses. 7 minus 2 is 5. You then had one more piece in the brackets. You got 5 minus 4, which is 1. 3 times 1, multiplication before the addition, is 3, plus 8 is 11. Let's take a look at number 7. We're going to, I'm going to write GEMDAS. Just make sure that I'm thinking about it each problem I complete. So, do I have any grouping symbols? Indeed I do. I have parentheses. So this is 1/3 right next to a parenthesis that implies multiplication. Negative 2 plus 8 is 6 minus 3 times 8. Now you can put this into Desmos, and you will find out that 1/3 times 6 is 2. Because there are no more grouping symbols, no exponents, multiplication, division. So this is 2 minus 3 times 8. I still have multiplication, so it's 2 minus 3 times 8, which is 24. And then my final step is 2. 2 minus 24, which is negative 22. In between all these steps, of course, you can absolutely take the time to put your little elements into Desmos, 2 minus 24, to make sure you get the right answer. But you need to show the steps. All right, hopefully you went through this. You saw there were parentheses. 5 minus 17 is negative 12. Then we have no exponents, no more grouping, but we do need to multiply. I have 1/4 times negative 12 in Desmos, or if you can do that out, that is negative 3 plus 3 times negative 4. I'm going to multiply 3 times negative 4, get negative 12, and I end up with a negative 15. That's it for this video. We will continue numbers 9 through 12, this should be number 12, on 9 through 12 in my next video, as well as 12 and 13, or we might call this now 13 and 14. So we will finish that in the next video. Thanks so much.